Let the chaos ensue.
Lots to talk about today on Big Brother 24. I did not have time to make a video yesterday, so we have a lot that I want to talk about today. I'm going to try and get to most of it. I'm going to start with Monty as HOH. I haven't talked a lot about Monty lately. That's because the last few times I talked about him, I still was not convinced he was ever going to grow a brain. But as HOH, he's showing that he is developing some game within this game. He has seemed to have mended his relationship with Taylor. He has a good grip on his alliance. He's done a pretty good job as a leader this week, although the leftovers like to flip-flop their plans, as I'll talk about here in this video. But I think Monty's reign overall has been good. He's told the right people what they need to know, and this other side of the house, if they don't want to listen, they don't want to listen. My favorite part for Monty was when Nicole was telling him she's afraid of going on the block, and he just basically laughed in her face. Although he played it off, it was still pretty funny to me.
I'm honestly scared to go on the block. I'm being very honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Nicole.
Now, one of the big players this week has been Daniel. Old Linguini Hair thinks he has it all figured out this week. And Linguini Hair has figured out the leftovers for the most part. He has it pretty much right except for Kyle. He doesn't think Kyle is quite as in as everyone else. And for the most part, he's thought that Terence might be in as well. I think he keeps going back and forth on if he really thinks Terence is in the alliance. But he doesn't think Kyle is, or he thought Kyle was at the bottom of it. So he thinks that Kyle is the person he needs this week, the person he needs to get in Kyle's head to get Kyle to do what he needs to be done. Daniel also wants to build a resistance to this big alliance that he sees in the house, even though the leftovers already was the resistance that was built to the bullshit going on in the house. But yes, Daniel wants to build his resistance, which is a lot of the other dummies in the house, which I will talk about here in a while. Another big issue, though, Kyle does have resistance to Daniel's plan to bring Kyle in, but Kyle might be losing some of his resistance for Alyssa, and this has been an issue on social media. Is Alyssa really a creep? Yes, Alyssa is a creep. Kyle has been letting Alyssa get closer to him these days, and I think there's no doubt that Kyle is attracted to Alyssa. I mean, look, we're guys. We're as easy as basic math, okay? We will be DTF if somebody is coming on to us so strongly. However, Kyle has still put up a lot of boundaries on Alyssa, and she has tried to push through all of those boundaries. So I just think that any way that you slice it, Alyssa has still been a creep. I don't care what Kyle's issue with it might be. If Kyle doesn't want to be so close to Alyssa because he doesn't want to do this on camera because he knows his family's watching, that's still him putting up boundaries for whatever reason. He has friend-zoned Alyssa multiple times, told her no multiple times. Alyssa's very horny, clearly, and Kyle has admitted he is pent up as well. But Kyle doesn't want to do this on TV. Will Kyle probably fuck her in the jury house if they're both there? Probably. Will they date outside of the show? Probably not, if Kyle's mom has anything to say about it, because Kyle's mom is not a fan of Alyssa on Twitter. So, much like Jed on BB 9, Jed and Beth lasted exactly 0 minutes outside of that game, thanks to Jed's mom. So I see similar things happening for Kyle and Alyssa. Not to mention, Alyssa coming into this house with a boyfriend, apparently being a cheater. But let's just say the roles were reversed for a second. If it was really Kyle who was always coming on to Alyssa and she had to friend zone him multiple times, if it was Kyle always touching up on her, kissing up on her, and she had to be the one to say no, not now. If it was Kyle grabbing at Alyssa's vagina, social media would be in an uproar about Kyle being a predator, because guess what? That's harassment, and it's the same way the other way around. Alyssa has harassed Kyle by trying to push his boundaries. That's what harassment is, the very definition. So anyone trying to say otherwise, your hypocrisy is stank. And this is worrying a lot of other fans that, maybe Kyle will eventually just really go for this showmance. And it's always a possibility. I don't think Kyle is interested in a real relationship with this girl, though. Does he want to fuck her? Probably. Does he want a real showmance or a real romance? I ain't seeing that. Kyle has talked about many times this week how she's bad for his game, how she needs to go. And yes, in the last couple days, he has changed his tune about that. I'm sure production is pushing this showmance in both of their DRs very much so. Even though him getting involved in this showmance is going to make his game harder, so production is going to have to eventually choose. Is a showmance more important to them, or is them pushing Kyle as this great player more important to them? Because we know Kyle's one of production's favorites. So do they care more about his game or about the showmance? Knowing the production, probably the showmance. But anyway, let's move on to Taylor and the hating still going on Taylor.
Stroll down the runway, another payday, cover of magazines. And when they see me, they wanna be me. I am the fantasy. Cover girl, put the bass in your walk. Head to toe, let your whole body talk.
So, yesterday Taylor was wearing some short shorts, and Nicole had some commentary on her thoughts on Taylor wearing these short shorts.
Yeah, you want to flaunt your fucking pussy all over this goddamn backyard? You go right ahead, honey.
Now, wait a damn minute. I know Nicole is out here also in short shorts. You can see her pockets. So, yeah, maybe they're 1 inch longer than Taylor's. You really think that 1 extra inch makes all the difference?
Nicole, you stupid.
She possibly could have been commenting on the fact that Taylor had her shorts unbuttoned, but she had a bikini underneath. Meanwhile, Alyssa's ass out in a bikini yesterday. So, this just goes to show more of the bullshit that Taylor has had to deal with and the unfair disadvantage she has come into this game as a black woman in the game, and her social game having to suffer because of it. And this really ticked me off again, because this really went again to show some of the bias that started off this season and always shows its ass in these social games. Alyssa can be an actual harasser, throwing herself at Kyle at all times. But Taylor, just walking around being hot, suddenly she's the one being overly sexualized, being villainized constantly for no fucking reason. So yes, this just pissed me off all over again on a lot of these players in the house and their ugly, gross biases that have come back into the game, because the bullshit Taylor's had to deal with hasn't stopped. She finally gained some friends at least, and she's been able to breathe on that side of the house, but she still has to deal with all of the bullshit on the other side still. That's why I need Taylor to get some savagery through. I've been saying this. She needs to get a little savage. Taylor is too nice. And she's talking about how she wants to bring it at the next eviction in her speech.
You'll probably get pre-practicing. My speech is going to be scorching, scathing. My final plea
However, her originally planned speech is a little too nice still, in my opinion.
I was going to say something like, I hope you treat me better outside the house than you treated me here, because all I did was want to be your friend.
Like, on most seasons, even still, do you really want to be friends with all of these fake-ass people playing a game? But this season, she's been getting so much shit from the other side. Taylor's just too nice. She doesn't need to be friends with all these people. She needs to be a little more savage with these people because they're never going to like her. While outside of the game, they're going to like her because they're going to need clout from her because they're all going to be hated on so damn much. And Taylor's going to be the person that they want to be friends with to have any sort of clout outside the game and to get people to stop harassing them the way they've been harassing people in this game. These people, a lot of these people in this damn game are just not good people. And yes, Taylor doesn't know everything that's been said about her, everything that's been going on. So hopefully when she's out of the house, she will have a more of an awakening. But these people are just awful. Like, they've been eating Turner's food, giving Turner's food away. Turner that needs to eat special food because of his food allergies. And yes, Turner's on slop this week, so he can't eat them. But still, just giving away his food, eating his food, without even asking him, I don't know. There have been a lot of these players have just still been showing their terrible side of things this week. I need a break from the high blood pressure some of these players are giving me. So let's talk about Terence for a second. Let's take a quick aside on Terence because I don't talk about Terence often. Terence, I still don't think he has much of a game, although I think as he showed at the end of last week going into the eviction, he had a pretty good read on the house in that he had the idea that he was staying. So he is able to read some people well. He's going to be the ultimate floater who just always is going to go to power. I think that's his game. The funny thing I wanted to talk about was old Terence working out with weights. Monty giving him a hell of a workout with his little weights.
I want you to push up.
Okay,
right?
give me 1 second. This is, whew, shit.
Oh, you feel it?
Hell fucking yeah.
Good. That means it's working.
Oh.
Give me 10 of these real quick. Yep.
I can't even get them up, bro.
Oh, for real?
And at first I was going to make fun of Terence lifting those weights until I realized, hey, wait, I'm not that much better when I'm lifting weights, honestly. I'm not. Maybe not quite as bad as Terence, but I'll stick to my resistance bands. It's Michael's birthday today, and
Anybody want cake?
not as entertaining as Joseph's so far, but it took a very interesting turn in the wee hours of this morning when it kind of became Michael versus Kyle for a while. Not in the fact that they were fighting by any means, but they were pushing their own little agendas. Michael and Taylor and Brittany have been discussing for a while how maybe it is best for Alyssa to go this week so that they have the hopes that they could get Indy to choose to be in a trio with Michael and Brittany. Now, I don't know how smart of a decision this would be because Indy doesn't fuck with Brittany at all. Indy's joined the haters and she hates on Brittany and Taylor any chance she gets, which I will get to a little later in this video. So the plan had been changed that they were going to backdoor Nicole by putting up Nicole and Taylor now that Kyle and Daniel won the veto, but Michael pushed and others pushed that they should just keep it Alyssa and Indy on the block and get out Indy. And when this was brought to Kyle, he of course wasn't on board. Now I think a lot of people think Kyle wasn't on board because he's starting to develop things with Alyssa. No, it's just not good for Kyle's game. Why would Kyle, after telling Indy and Alyssa he's going to take them down, not to worry about anything these past few days, why now would Kyle want to ambush Alyssa and Indy out of the blue? This was a last-minute decision by the leftovers. They do a lot of flip-flopping, so of course Kyle at first is going to resist that. And I'm not saying that eventually maybe Kyle will give in completely and be in a full-on showmance with Alyssa. I'm not convinced of that by any means. I don't see it. I see two horny individuals, but I don't see I don't see anything really coming of that. I don't see how Alyssa's ever going to be good for Kyle's game within this game either. But I'm sure maybe if the production keeps pushing for it hard enough, maybe Kyle will do it. But we'll see. As of now, though, I think Kyle has always been thinking about his game. And the plan had already been going where Kyle's doing a lot of the talking to Indy and Alyssa that he's going to save them. And I think Kyle has shown, unlike a lot of players in this game who are very one-note, awful people, Kyle is a layered person. I don't think he would actually want to use Alyssa to hurt her feelings, which is what may have happened in this scenario if he's just coming out and playing her this hard this week when that wasn't his intention. A lot of these planning with the leftovers too is that they don't really know. There's a lot of speculation. Is it going to be another case where the person that stays in this eviction gets to choose another trio or choose whoever they want to go to? Or the speculation that the person will have to choose either Monty, Joseph, or Terence so that it goes back to just duos. Because the more you think about this twist, like, what are we going to have, a team of 4 individuals and then all 4 of them could go on the block? It's very convoluted if that's the case. And the twist is already a little convoluted because it's really just so production can protect the big alliance. And I want to make a quick side note on Joseph since I haven't talked about him yet. A lot of social media also tries to shit on Joseph's game, of course, because social media is always dumb. And they want to say he's always overplaying and that he does too much. And he does talk too much, and I do think he plays hard. I don't think he's overplayed yet, though. And I think they don't trust him. They think he's going to do too much and get their faves in danger. But I think Joseph has shown that he is a team player. He told Michael and Brittany that if the plan went through to get out Nicole this week, that they can throw Joseph under the bus so that if Michael and Brittany are still a duo, that the duo is not targeted. And instead it's Joseph, Monty, and Terence targeted. That way Terence can go. So I think a person like Joseph who thinks about a lot of these scenarios, he's a really good player. As long as he doesn't eventually get like paranoid because of how hard he kind of does play, then it's not a problem. I think Joseph is playing his own game, and he can play his own game. And I'm glad he's playing his own game. He talks a lot, yes, but let him play his own game, okay? It might eventually get him in trouble. It might get other people in trouble, but we're here to play Big Brother. Let them play their own game, and Joseph is one that plays his own game. But he's also shown that he can be a team player too. But anyway, Daniel thinks he's a genius now, even though I just think that the bleach he uses on his hair is just seeping into his brain. Maybe that's why he's such an awful person. Maybe it's the bleach seeping into his head. It's funny because, normally we would all be rooting for a split house or like people figuring out that there's a big alliance, but there's such awful people like Daniel that I can't do it. Trust me, go back to any of my videos, even videos on any of my games that are here on this channel, on the podcast that we talked about those games. I am one of the biggest haters of big alliances that you will ever find. People that have done podcasts with me can tell you that. I hate big alliances. I hate alliances of more than 4 people, period. But I cannot root for 2 sides in this game when one side is made up of a bunch of biased haters who are racist. Some of them are racist and problematic. I can't root for them, and they're not good players. They suck. So why would I root for them? I can't root for them to figure shit out because they suck as people, but they also suck as players. But Daniel thinks that he got in Monty and Kyle's head, and that Monty thinks they don't have the numbers because last night in the wee hours of the morning when they changed the plan to go back to getting out Alyssa or Indy and leaving them on the block, Daniel thinks he got in Monty's head because he thinks Monty now believes that Taylor doesn't have the numbers to stay if Monty puts up Taylor and Nicole. he has this conversation with Kyle. And Kyle's, of course, just playing this man.
Very interested and so obvious to me, more than ever. So they don't have the numbers at all. And that's where he is smart. Yeah. He's going, either I keep the numbers the same. And here's the thing, this sucks too. But our allies will be safe if this happens.
Stupid people everywhere. Stupid people got stupid hair. Stupid people that don't care because they're stupid.
Daniel is convinced that he has Kyle and thus has the numbers to keep Nicole this week over Taylor. So Daniel has went from wanting to make sure that the veto is not used this week so that Nicole doesn't go home to being okay if his number one, his duo, Nicole, goes up on the block next to Taylor because Daniel really thinks he's building the resistance. Yeah, let's check in with some of these resistance members and what they bring to the table. Jasmine is good for nothing. All Jasmine does is be mean and complain and want to eat. The only good gameplay we're getting from Jasmine is her faking this ankle injury or milking it. She's not faking it, but she's milking it like I've been calling she would do since it first happened. Production has tried to get her to walk with the cane more often. She needs to elevate her more often. She's not taking care of the ankle because this is her one gameplay. To make people feel sorry for her because of her ankle. To make people try and wait on her hand and foot because she thinks she can't do anything because of her ankle. So good luck with that alliance member of Jasmine. And to make matters worse, Jasmine and Indy talking about how they want to push people away from talking to Taylor and Brittany, basically talking about how they hate that when Brittany and Taylor are in rooms talking to people because they want to talk with their friends.
Last night, Taylor was... People, I think they need like some wake up sometimes. Like Taylor and Brittany, like we could see like Monty wants to hang out like with Joseph, with me, you know? And then they're like there in his room. How was Brittany in there? I don't know. Last night? She was the last one leaving. I left and they were still there. I want to hang out. She was like halfway asleep when we were in there. Yeah, I want to hang out with my friends and I couldn't because they were there.
Indy also called Brittany ugly. These two act like fucking middle schoolers, and for what? You know, I hate a lot on Jasmine. I talk a lot of shit about her. But realistically, she doesn't have an ugly face. Indy, however, if Indy is really 31 years old, I'm sorry, with all due respect, you're ugly as fuck. Indy has been in the sun too long or has had some ugly plastic surgery done to her face because she does not look 31 years old. And she's quickly becoming one of the biggest haters in the damn house. And so this continues to be the resistance. Daniel's band of idiots frolicking through the house doing the same damn thing they've been doing for weeks now. Targeting Taylor. Their games continue to revolve around Taylor. It's unrootable. Not just because they're terrible people, because how dumb can you be to try the same things over and over again and realize it's not working? So, yay, Daniel can get an ounce of credit for figuring out the leftovers who make it easy to figure out because all they do is hang out with each other for too many hours at a time. But Daniel's big plan is thinking now he has the numbers to get out Taylor and that his best friend in the house, his number one, Nicole, won't go home. And these two idiots think Monty is lying to them.
I'm like, you're not doing me any favors. Everything that's come out of your mouth is a fucking lie.
Yeah, he's so lying. So is Brittany.
And Monty's telling them the truth. Monty told Daniel that he wants to keep noms the same for Alyssa and Indy to stay up because if they put up Taylor and Nicole, he might not have the numbers to get out Taylor. They might not have the numbers to keep Nicole. They're blaming it on Indy and Jasmine and Alyssa because they don't trust Nicole either. And Monty's not lying. They've told him they don't trust Nicole. When Amira left, she whispered in Jasmine's ear to not trust Nicole and Daniel.
I mean, they're lost.
Exactly. I'm saying, dude, that's what's tough is I'm like, dude, he's like excited though because he's like,
I got it.
I got this week. And he's like, so I asked him straight up, I'm like, dude, so is it like 100% you're using it? And he's like, dude, I have to.
Oh, God.
Because he's thinking, I know, bro, that's what I'm saying.
But
dude.
no, it's perfect. You know why? Because they're going to look like idiots when Nicole goes home.
That's what I'm saying.
And then Daniel's going to look at me and I'm going to be like, yo,
we
you
tried.
didn't use it. I tried.
I know.
I tried to let you know. But you don't want to.
So Monty's right. It's their loss. Monty was actually telling them the truth. And these idiots Daniel wants to get his number one out of the house. And now Monty and the guys can try and blame it on Alyssa and Indy and Jasmine when Nicole probably goes home this week. They could blame it on them not trusting Nicole and keep Kyle safe and make Daniel not think Kyle's in the alliance if they play this correctly. So as it stands, Daniel did use the veto, and it helped out Kyle's game because Kyle's game was in trouble in the wee hours of the morning because he had been telling Alyssa and Indy he's going to save them for the past couple days. And then the leftovers tried to change it last minute to keep them on the block. But Daniel, who initially wanted to not use the veto, ends up using the veto. His number one in the game goes up next to Taylor. And unless Kyle flips, bye-bye, Nicole. Daniel's responsible for taking out his number one. And I think a lot of people I see on Twitter are worried that Kyle's going to flip. He's not going to flip. Not right now. Maybe at some point in the game. But, why would he flip this early? Why? He has no reason. He hates the people on the other side. He doesn't have strong connections on the other side. He has zero reason to flip right now. He would tank his own game if Kyle tried to flip to get Taylor out this week. Because this alliance of who he has the numbers with would probably make Kyle target number one going forward. So it doesn't benefit Kyle's game whatsoever to flip the vote. And even if they did, they would have to flip Terence as well. Terence doesn't trust Nicole because her dumbass wants to tell everyone she used to be a cop. Yeah, tell the old black man you used to be a cop. That's going to go over real well. Terence hates Nicole right now. And it's a combination of Nicole voting, thinking he was going last week and being in on the plan with him going last week, and the combination of her being an ex-cop. Overall, I'm glad to see the dummies continue to make bad moves, and Daniel sending home his number one this week is pretty beautiful because of all the people in the house, Daniel is probably the person I hate the most. I think he has said and done the worst shit. We've seen him step to a woman, but he's too big of a pussy to ever step to the guys. But it's been another good couple days of feeds. A lot to catch up on today. I went a little long, a lot longer than I usually do, but I wanted to talk about a lot of things. You'll notice I didn't even mention Turner. That's Turner's game. I think I mentioned everyone but Turner. Turner just under the radar again. I don't know if that's going to benefit him in the long run because I think he still needs some connections. But right now, it's working for the guy. And lastly, I still think Taylor needs to get an edge. She is too nice. Taylor, for the love of God, get an edge in this house. She was upset again today because the plan flipped back to her going on the block. And I get why she doesn't want to be on the block so much, but she needs to be a bit more aggressive in her gameplay. She can't keep letting people dictate her game. She keeps talking about not wanting to let that keep happening while she needs to do it. She needs to start pushing back on things, start getting her own opinion across, and stop being too nice to these fucking haters on the other side.
So explain to me, if this man told you fucking not to use it, and you trying to protect Nicole, why would you put on the block?
So ass backward.
Am I stupid, bro? I mean, I'm just saying, I had 2 beers, but that definitely ain't enough, bro.